Okay, first of all, I know the history behind the WNBA. I know that both of those cities have had teams before, and they got us where we're at.
What happens when a basketball player's simple complaint about referees turns into a full-scale battle with an entire league? Sophie Cunningham just found out the hard way, and the WNBA's response has sent shockwaves through the basketball world that nobody saw coming. Picture this. You're watching your favorite team play when you notice the refs making questionable calls. You might complain to your friends, maybe post something on social media. But what if speaking that truth cost you thousands of dollars and put you directly in the crosshairs of league officials? That's exactly what happened to Sophie Cunningham, and her story exposes something much darker lurking beneath the surface of women's professional basketball. It all started innocently enough. Frustrated after yet another game filled with missed calls and inconsistent officiating, Sophie did what millions of fans do every day. She posted her honest thoughts on TikTok. But unlike the rest of us, Sophie didn't sugarcoat it. She called the referees what she truly thought they were: useless. Those 6 letters changed everything. Within hours, the WNBA slapped her with a $500 fine, shocking players and fans alike. Most people would have backed down, apologized, and moved on. But Sophie Cunningham isn't most people. Instead of retreating, she doubled down, taking her frustrations to her podcast. There, she not only defended her comments, but revealed something the WNBA desperately didn't want public: widespread dissatisfaction among players over officiating standards that had been festering for years. The league's response was swift and harsh, another $1,500 fine, bringing her total to $2,000. But instead of silencing her, those penalties transformed Sophie into a symbol. Social media exploded overnight. Supporting Sophie began trending as fans realized they weren't alone in their frustrations. The outrage wasn't just about Sophie's fines, it was about the glaring inconsistency in how the league handles different situations. While Cunningham was punished for speaking her truth, players like Caitlin Clark had endured dangerous, even brutal treatment on the court for 2 full seasons, without their aggressors facing meaningful penalties. The contrast was impossible to ignore. Within hours, GoFundMe campaigns popped up to cover Sophie's fines, reaching their goals almost instantly. Petitions demanding transparency in officiating gathered thousands of signatures. Fans were asking simple but damning questions. Why? Punish a player for telling the truth? Why ignore calls for accountability? The WNBA had accidentally created the very thing it feared most: a movement. To understand the backlash, you have to compare the WNBA's approach to other leagues. In the NBA, outspoken players like Draymond Green and legends like Charles Barkley became cultural icons by speaking openly and unapologetically. Fans celebrate that honesty; it's part of basketball's DNA. Sophie Cunningham's treatment, however, told a very different story. After she criticized referees for failing to protect players like Caitlin Clark, she wasn't just fined, she was warned by a league official in front of her team. "They're going to fine you again." That wasn't discipline, that was intimidation. By trying to suppress Sophie's voice, the WNBA triggered what's known as the Streisand effect. Attempts to silence criticism only make it louder. Instead of burying her words, the league amplified them. Meanwhile, the irony deepened. Fans had already seen star players endure cheap shots like Marina Mabrey's blindside hit, or DJ Carrington's near miss that could have seriously injured Caitlin Clark's eye without consistent penalties. Yet when Sophie merely pointed out referees weren't doing their jobs, the league suddenly became laser-focused on discipline. The priorities looked completely backward, like ignoring a raging house fire, while scolding someone for forgetting a coaster. This pattern raised serious questions. Have you ever left a WNBA game feeling the contest wasn't entirely fair? That lingering frustration is exactly what Sophie brought into the spotlight. Her criticism wasn't about the occasional missed call, it was about systemic inconsistency that affects strategies, frustrates fans, and silences players. Other leagues take a different path. The NFL, for example, has had high-profile officiating controversies, yet it fosters more accountability. Referees are scrutinized, players voice frustrations without fear of fines, and fans maintain trust even when mistakes happen. The WNBA, by contrast, seems focused on punishing criticism instead of fixing the root problem. The result? Eroded trust. Fans doubt fairness, players bite their tongues, and resentment festers. fines only add fuel to the fire. Sophie's ordeal even bordered on absurd. At one point, she revealed her general manager had to pull her aside in front of teammates just to deliver news of yet another fine simply for discussing her earlier fines. It felt like something out of a Kafka novel. The timing couldn't have been worse. Just as national media began questioning whether Caitlin Clark was facing unfair treatment, the WNBA appeared to confirm suspicions that it punishes players for speaking honestly. Instead of solving problems, the league doubled down on silence and control, risking alienation of both players and fans. Cunningham's criticism wasn't inflammatory. She didn't curse, insult, or launch personal attacks. She voiced what many were already thinking. Yet, rather than listen, the league tried to shut her down. That decision stifles authenticity, the very quality that builds fan loyalty and drives growth. The fallout reveals a deeper leadership crisis. When a league spends more energy policing speech than improving its product, it sabotages its own progress. Fans don't want canned statements, they want raw, real voices. NBA players thrive in that space. The WNBA risks fading into irrelevance by smothering it. Sophie Cunningham's story began as a single frustrated TikTok post, but it's now a symbol of something much bigger, a league at a crossroads. Will the WNBA choose accountability and transparency or continue silencing its players at the cost of long-term trust? One thing is clear, the basketball world is watching. And thanks to Sophie, the conversation can no longer be ignored.